And here we are.
Yeah.
We actually lost 3 viewers during that.
During the intro? Oh no.
The new extended version intro.
The
Now I've
idea
lost
was
another
to.
one after I started talking.
The idea is
a
to
more
try and.
exciting one.
Yeah, maybe. We wanted people to have time to get in. So they'll see the notification and get in and see that. Let people add in, but might have to rethink it, I guess.
Yeah. So before we did 30-second, that was what, a minute and a half?
2.
So that was 2 minutes? Okay, so maybe I'll
Really? Didn't feel like 2
streamline it.
minutes.
Because it's beautiful and scenic.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. So tonight, we're joined by Kali Pearson. She's an advocate and independent researcher. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Delphi case in Delphi, Indiana. Good evening, Kali. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the second time we've had you on, so I appreciate you coming back on and talking to us. If you would, just kind of introduce yourself and how you got involved with this case along with the other cases you're working on.
Well, my name's Kali. I work on the baby Dior case. Dior Coons Jr. out of Idaho Falls. I got involved in this case by meeting people through Dior's case who needed some help in researching, and before you know it, I got sucked in, probably like everybody else who comes to see this. Delphi is a case that definitely needs justice. It needs to be put to an end before anybody else gets hurt. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
So if you would kind of go into the case for those people that may not be as well versed as you on the case and what happened.
So Delphi, we call it the Delphi murders. It's a case based on 2 girls that were found murdered in the woods, who disappeared. Who was it, like Monday, right? Monday they had the day off from school, so they decided to go for a walk in the woods and go to the Monon Trail in Indiana. And it was about 1:30 something that they were there, and eventually their family went to go pick them up, and they weren't available. They were missing from that point on. So they started a search. The search lasted for a good while, but in the middle of the night, I don't know, around 10 o'clock at night, the search was called off. And the next morning, next afternoon around 12, the girls' bodies was found pretty close to the bridge, but on the other side of the creek. And they still have yet to solve it and who killed them.
Yeah, and that bridge is really high, looks extremely unsafe. I know there's a lot of missing, I guess, railroad tie or whatever you call them.
Right.
And there's no rails or anything. Like, I'd be scared to have my kid walk across that bridge.
I'd beat him as soon as I got home if I found out about that.
Yeah.
So Abby Williams and Libby Germain, how old were the girls when they?
Abby was 13 and Libby was 14.
Oops, I'll skip this. So what makes this story unique is one of the girls is able to capture the prime suspect on her cell phone and record him, right? Can you kind of go into that? Like what took place there?
Well, so the girls ended up going to what we believe is the end of the bridge, and this guy ended up following them and somehow must have passed them at one point. And you can hear, I think, Abby say, "Is he still following us?" And Libby pulls out her phone, and Libby actually took a criminal case, like a class to do criminology and stuff like that. So she was pretty prepared. So when she pulled out her phone and she started recording this guy walking up on them, you can hear a couple of things like, down the hill, there's talk about a gun, and yeah, he's the last person to have seen him. At first, the police did not think that this guy was a suspect until a couple of days later. Yeah, we call him Bridge Guy, BG for short.
Yeah, and so basically he let the girls walk across the bridge, and then they get to the other end of the bridge where the trail ends. So he knows
Mhm.
they have to come back across. It's almost like, he allowed them to get in a position where they're going to be vulnerable because the only way back is over the bridge, right?
Right, right. Yeah, and there is a trail at the south end, and then there's a trail on both ends there's a little trail. So, yeah, if you let them walk past you and then you get behind them and start walking towards them again, you're backing them up into one of the ends, regardless. Um, yeah, there's actual footage that shows the hill. It's pretty steep, going down through the woods, and all the houses that are around the area are not really facing the creek, so it's not like there would be any eyewitnesses unless
Now
they were involved.
they were found on someone's property, and I know that they looked at that guy a little bit, right? The
Yeah,
gentleman's property where they were found.
yeah,
Um,
Ronald Logan. I forget how old, 70s, 80s. He was old. Um, yeah, he actually is a child predator from the past, and so he has stipulations on what he's allowed to be around and stuff like that. Plus, he also has probation for alcohol and drinking and driving and stuff like that. And so he actually lied that day and said he called his cousin and told him to lie for him and say, "Hey, tell everybody I was here with you at this time," and instead of that time. And we don't know why. Um, I'm sure there's people who do know why, but yeah, poor Ronald Logan. I mean, is he involved? Is he not? Did they set him up? Is it somebody that he knew? He let a lot of people use his property, so you know it's possible anybody could have just felt like they could go on their property and do what they wanted to do.
mhm.
Right.
And supposedly he's not home during this time.
So the gentleman that's on screen now is Richard Allen, and he's ultimately the one that gets arrested for this case. Now he admitted to police that he was there that day. He tells them he's wearing a blue hoodie or something, right? So he basically fits the description of the bridge guy, but a lot of
Mhm.
people feel like he's not involved. What
Right.
what kind of evidence does the police have against Richard Allen?
They have an unspent bullet that ended up somehow falling in between the girls' bodies. Matches the gun from his house. That's about all they have on him. And the fact that he was there, that he places himself there, and he gave the statement in the very first couple of weeks. Uh, and they continue to look for this guy that represented this guy on the screen right now as BG, and you have Alan who's admitting that he's there at the same time wearing these clothes. It's really confusing on how they didn't get him the first time. They just kept looking for him.
Yeah, so they have a bullet that had been chambered through his gun that they found at his house during a search warrant, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he also worked at CVS in the photo studio, right? Now, I
Yeah.
read that he had actually developed crime scene photos from the case. Is that true, or is that just something
I
somebody?
know the funeral photos. I'm not sure about the crime scene photos.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's creepy.
So he
Yeah. He
developed
didn't. He
the
didn't
funeral
charge the
photos,
family.
and
Yeah.
he developed the funeral photos and kept copies for himself.
I don't know if he kept copies for himself, but I know that he didn't charge the family for the photos.
Well, that's nice of him.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't either in a way, but being him that he did that, it makes you wonder.
Now, what was the? How were they? Were they killed? They were shot, I assume, right?
No.
Oh,
Libby they're both stabbed. Libby was basically, her neck was, I don't know, she was inches away from being decapitated, fully decapitated. We're not sure of SA. That has not been released. We're not sure of pregnancies. That has not been released. But Abby died of an injury, I want to say to her neck, that ended up bleeding out. It was either her neck or her heart, but it was a main vein. They ejected bullet. There's Julie. phone working. Yeah.
Match the
Okay.
6 hour. Now, who's Julie?
Julie's a great friend of mine. Julie works on the case. She's very deeply involved in it, and she does everything she can to solve this case, like I do on my case, and like everybody does with their cases. We all have our special cases, and this is definitely hers, not necessarily mine. But I help her out as much as I can. We kind of, I don't know, we've known each other for a really long time now, for at least 5 years. But she's a really nice person. And she knows a lot about the case.
I know that. Oh, she said Kali is great. So, I've heard that law enforcement, soon after Richard Allen had confessed to being in the area, wearing those same clothing, when they were doing like these the talks, when they speak to the public or whatever, he actually would show up to those events, right? And he would sit there and listen. And I know on one of them they said, "Oh, here's our guest of honor," on a microphone that had been left on. Like
I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that.
Oh, you didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah. So basically, they suspected him. There was a live microphone, and he says, "Oh, here's our guest of honor now." Like they knew before they charged him that, or they suspected him before they charged him. Which
Oh wow, I did not know that.
They must have more evidence besides the fact that he was there. He's matches the description of the bridge guy and the gun casing that had been chambered through his 40 cal 6 hour, right?
Right.
What else do they have on him that you're aware of?
To be honest, that's it. I mean, there's not a lot. There's really not a lot. I mean, he's the only one that
he
they've
placed
caught.
himself there too, right? So
yeah,
and said he had the same matching sort of outfit.
It's really the bullet and the matching outfit.
Now what about the bowler hat that he's wearing, or the hat that he's wearing? Does he own a hat like that?
I believe that it would just be a baseball cap. I think he said he was wearing some sort of cap and a hoodie and a Carhartt jacket. It was a blue Carhartt jacket. They've got a lot of clothing on.
Julie says originally the FBI did not think the ejected bullet was related to the case.
How could they
then
not?
It worked out that. So, what do you make of Richard Allen confessing to the crimes to his wife?
I feel like he was coerced into saying that. Do I think he's involved? I think that he knows something. He knows the people, or something of the sort. Maybe even a watcher, or like a lookout. They have enough against him to where basically, once you threaten his family, I mean, he's gonna do whatever you ask him and tell him to do. That's what I think. I think he's threatened a lot.
Does he have any sort of record at all?
No, not that I know of.
So he's got no record, no evidence of anything else as far as like child predatory behaviors or anything like that?
No, nothing. They found nothing on his devices. It's really just the bullet and the thing. It's seriously, I feel like there's a lot more people to this. I just can't see Richard Allen, 5'4", shorter than me, hustling two girls down across the creek, and I just can't see it, whether I had a gun or not,
I'd say if you've got a gun, I think he could.
Well, you could, but then you have to at some point get your knife out and start struggling. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like there's more people involved, and that he knows more, and that's why he's accepting it. Because if he was completely innocent, you would not sit there and deal with that. You would disagree. You would fight for it. I mean, at least I would, and many people I think would. But he's letting it happen. He's accepting it.
So if he's guilty, would you accept it and let it happen, or would you fight?
Maybe both, if it was, but he's not fighting at all. He's not fighting to get out. He's not fighting to clear his innocence.
So let's talk about what's going on in jail. he was on a hunger strike for a while. He's lost all kinds of weight. He also, I guess his defense attorney is claiming that there's some kind of odinism going on at the jail. You want to go into that a little bit?
The odinism stuff. Well, let's see. That's a really long one. Let's see. Where do we start? Do we start with the defense?
Oh, we got plenty of time.
Do we start with the defense letters?
Yeah.
It was like 150 something pages. It was a lot. I read every single page. So odinism is like it's kind of like Wiccans, witchcraft, but your own kind of thing, your own belief system. It's like a Viking thing, where it's like a man group, I guess. So this odinism thing, they do supposedly, with my research of looking up what they do, they sacrifice. They do all these things. Is it widely known that this is a spread out thing? Not really the sacrificing part. Rituals and stuff like that, they do that in the woods. They do it around fires. They worship the Odin god, which is, I don't know, it looks like a goat with horns. Something special about him, I guess. But yeah, it's like a man group. So there's this guy named Brad Holder that is being brought out into the system with his buddies, and it's said that he may be responsible. Some things have gone down in the background, with what's his name, Patrick Westfall. He's the friend of Brad Holder's. Now these two people are said to be like the main Odinists of Delphi, pretty much one of the main Odinist groups. And I don't really see, to be honest with you, I just don't see him involved in that. But there are Odinist groups, people that are actually in the jail. They're the guards. They're wearing patches and stuff. They're sitting out in front of his cell. That every single conversation that he's ever had has been recorded or watched by these two guards. I mean, and after a while, once the Odinism stuff was pointed out that the guards were even, threatening stuff, their patches were removed. They didn't want to be associated with that, I guess, in the case. I don't know. I don't understand this whole Odinism thing. It makes sense.
Yeah, I don't understand how they get Viking god patches on their uniforms for a jail. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
to me.
that
not uniform. That's not uniformal. You don't do that.
No, you don't put any. Yeah, that's weird.
That's like a police officer running around with upside down crosses or something. You don't do that. Yeah, so that's no longer. They didn't know that they were being watched either. So that's I guess that was probably fun for them.
We got a couple of comments here from Julie.
Oh, sorry. Thanks. I was just gonna.
God of War, yeah.
Keep in mind that the defense presented in the memorandum came directly from what law enforcement in the state had from the beginning of the case. It was not made up, as some say. Well, she did have a comment up here earlier that we didn't see.
Yeah.
They're varying camps on what they have on Richard Allen, or RA. The bullet was found with a 45-degree angle in the dirt, and there are only pics of it in the dirt, no other photos. So the actual bullet buried in the hard dirt, it would not drop into hard dirt that way.
Oh, that's interesting.
And another one here, CS was definitely staged to at least appear as though someone had direct knowledge, interest, or wanted the scene to at least appear it was Odinist.
All right, so so she's talking about the crime scene, and I was going to get into that as well. I believe that I've read that the girls are posed in such a way that looks like, there was purposely posed, right? Do you know anything about that? Like,
yeah, they had supposedly they had sticks posed on them that were basically laid out in the shape of a ruin. Certain ruins. Abby had one that had like all these, like a star almost. Brad Holder also has the same thing that was tattooed on his wrist. But then again, is this something that's made to look like Odinists, knowing that they are around? Maybe they were set up, but it's also possible that one of the Odinist people were dumb enough to leave so much credible evidence behind. I mean, you got this F. It doesn't look like an F to me, in the tree, written in blood, in Libby's blood. I mean, that right there is sick, regardless of whatever it is, whether it's an F
Right.
or a smiley face. It's sick, and
What
to think.
are you saying? F, like as in Frank, the letter F?
Yeah, yeah. And also they're tying that to and I believe that it could have odinism. I mean, who knows? Really, I mean, we have our certain suspects that we all kind of think might have had something to do with it, but it's a matter, you don't put those names out there until you have 100% proof. I definitely think he's not a loner in this case. He did not do this himself. Do I think he's an Odinist? I think it's possible. It's also possible that he belongs to the Keegan Klein thing, where everybody knew Keegan Klein, in my opinion, and kind of belonged to this little boy group. Also, remember Delphi is it's a Mason town. It's a huge masonry town. Almost every male there is a masonry. Julie, did you get anything with that masonry stuff? Like, did you get a good list of that we're working on? She was working on a list of seeing who all in the town was related to being a Mason, because it's possible certain boys' clubs that have been mentioned throughout the case might actually be just that.
Now, when you said Klein, what are you talking about there?
Keegan Klein. Keegan Klein is a guy that is sexual exploitation for minors on throughout the internet, whether he took it himself or distributed. He ran this account called Anthony Shots. He used it as a fake profile, took somebody else's picture and put it in there, and went and basically chit-chatted with all of these girls, including Libby, and was supposed to meet her that day, and supposedly she didn't show up. Also, Abby's boyfriend is Brad Holder's son, and he was also supposed to meet Abby that day, and she didn't show up. So a lot of people are supposed to meet these girls, it seems like, and they didn't show up.
Were they supposed to meet there at the bridge or on the trails?
Yeah, somewhere on the bridge. Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
And it's like every case like this, so much that you can delve into, and I'm kind of like more of a surface level person as far as some of these cases.
There's like so many people involved. Like there's different, like, I almost want to call it stages, because as the years happen, this thing happened and that thing happened, and everything was just adding. And so you got this Keegan Klein, with the fake profile and Anthony Shots thing, going around, and all of a sudden you got Brad Holder.
That was Keegan Klein was the kid I was thinking of when I said heavy set. Like he's got the beard, right?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, I agree with you on that.
He used like a model picture to say he was a younger kid, and okay. Go ahead, Jeff. I know you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, no, just because I got into, you talked about that F, the F rune, so I had to look that up, and apparently what that could mean, it's the rune of abundance, money, wealth, nourishment, and fulfillment. It corresponds with the English letter F and can signify wealth gained, successes reached, and rewards delivered. So if it was some sort of a quote-unquote sacrifice type thing with the letter F there, maybe, and this is just me getting all conspiratorial, but I heard that and I had to look it up to see what that could mean.
Oh, good call. So Julie says most normal people would not even know what they were looking at, or if it meant anything as far as the sticks. It would give one pause, but most people would have no idea what a rune is.
That's right. Also somewhere in the woods, it was pretty close. Some people have actually stumbled across like animal bones, like hung up, like there was seances and the rituals and stuff going on in the woods nearby. So there are areas of interest that really haven't been spoken about. There are pictures of these that are floating around, but it seems like these woods are used often enough to where you wouldn't be surprised if this stuff happens. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
and you know, there's so many different looking at all these ruins for Odinisms, and then also Wiccans. They share similar ruin signs, slightly different meanings, but they also do share some of them. I've seen it's. I just don't know what to think about it, to be honest with you. I mean, if it's an Odinism thing, it can't be limited to just one person. It's a group thing. You do this stuff as a group. You don't do it individually. And Abby supposedly didn't have any blood anywhere around her, right, Julie? And nothing. She looked, she was washed, cleaned up. I think it's possible that she was actually hung upside down, and if this was a ritual thing, because in the Odinism things, they actually have a hangman. A hangman is like a tarot card. So if you've seen a tarot card, hangman, you got the person hanging upside down, and one of their legs is kind of like this. So basically, it's the same pose that Abby was posed in, as say like the hangman, and that is a picture that Brad Holder had painted, and actually drew an F at the very bottom of the picture and circled it, and it's an F in red. Because there's some things that have linked him to being suspicious about some of the things in the crime scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize all that. Like, honestly, I thought we are gonna get on here tonight and you're gonna talk about how Richard Allen is absolutely guilty, is bullshit that he's trying to get his case tossed out, and here we are talking about all these other side notes.
Yeah, I don't know how I never heard that before. The rune side of things, like the Odinism.
Yeah,
it's
it's
completely new to
it's
me.
kind of like a new thing. It's a new thing. It's just the last couple of months it's come out. Yeah, Richard Allen, I mean, I'm up for him being guilty. How he's being treated, I don't think it's fair, because if he is guilty, it's ruining the case on how they're doing it, right? You know, you can't threaten people in jail like that. You can't be watching their phone calls like that. It's not up to the guards to do that. It's up to phone calls. It's up to monitors, you know. You don't put these two people who are showing Odinism badges on their stuff in charge of him. And I don't know. I just think that he hasn't been treated fairly as a person. Now, do I care if he's treated fairly if he's guilty? No, not really. But we want the case to go forward, right? We want the integrity of it to be upheld and pushed forward.
Yeah, we want the right guy convicted, right? So
we want the right guy convicted, and we want the right guy who's being convicted to not get out.
Or persons
to do.
I know how you emails can be.
Oh man.
Sorry, honey. My wife's watching right now. She's gonna come downstairs and yell at me. So Julie also says Libby's hair was definitely still damp and slicked back. She had wounds on her hands and large jagged wound across her neck, and her face on her nose was injured.
Oh, please save your discretion.
Your discretion, yeah.
I'm not seeing the photos, just to be respectful, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have any of the photos for that in here anyways.
No. Yeah, but describing it is still like the same thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, poor thing. I mean, I don't know. I feel really bad for all the innocents. All of them.
I'm gonna show a quick video. So Neil Mant was on our podcast, I think season 2, talking about he had just come out with this program called Crime Door. It's a Crime Door app. So I'm gonna show this real quick. So this is something you can download on any Android or iOS device, but it takes you into the crime scene. So this is the crime scene on Libby and Abby's case. There's the bridge guy, and there's the bridge. You actually hold up your phone and you walk through the crime scene. You can look at everything.
Yeah, it's like it's an augmented reality sort of thing. So,
right.
Yeah, it has like 3D models of everything. They build everything out as accurately as they can to the crime scene, and you can actually walk around and you move your phone, and that's sort of the lens into the crime scene. And
No,
so
you can get
it
into
has a
it.
bunch of the evidence type stuff that was at the crime scene in a lot of these as well.
Right.
But you can see the hill behind her, over her right shoulder there. And then here's the picture that they took of the bridge guy on her phone. It's kind of like brings you right there to the crime scene, right?
Right. Yeah, I think it's very awesome that they did this and that they do this for others.
Yeah, they've got.
To
I
get you a
should look that up
sense.
before, but I know they have over 500 different crime scenes on there now.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait for them to do a couple of them. It'll be fun. But I think that's a good idea because you get the sense of like you're actually there, instead of pictures. When you look at pictures, for example, Dior's case, when you look at the reservoir, it just looks like a flat thing of grain. But then when you pull up the mountain view and you kind of get in there, there's so much more. The hills are taller, the road goes up. I mean, I was on a Facebook Live the other like couple of months ago up there, and someone up there had me on live, and so they were going. I was like, I didn't realize that road went up like that. Like, it's really good to be in that zone and see for yourself where all this happened and what it looked like.
I just noticed our names disappeared, Jeff. Because this should say Kali and then Justice for Baby Dior.
You get pushing buttons. Well, my name's on the bottom.
Oh, it doesn't show up on mine.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, so we should say that you do also run a page called Justice for Baby Dior. And for anyone that's not familiar with that case, we did cover that case. I think, was that 2 years ago now we covered that with you, Kali?
Yeah, we've done a couple of things together on it.
You want to go into his case real quick, and then we'll go back to the Delphi murders?
Oh, I'll be really short. So if you visit justiceforbabydior.com, you'll get to see a case about a missing 2-year-old boy that went camping with his parents, his grandpa, and a friend, and supposedly he just vanished one afternoon. And yeah, if you get in there, you'll see that the parents are listed as suspects, and we're trying to do everything we can to solve that case as well.
Yeah, such a strange case. Like, how does this little boy go missing with all these family members around? And
yeah, we believe it was a family accident and covered up for whatever reason. Don't understand why people go through that route. I get the panic. I've been in trouble with some things. Random things. You just have that panic, right? But do things the right way, better.
So this is your page here, Justice for Baby Dior.
Mm-hmm.
What a cute kid he was, though.
Yeah.
So I could find. Actually, I'll show you some pictures here.
His birthday's coming up. I did a really special video for him.
When's his birthday?
The 30th.
That's a crazy, crazy case.
Yeah. So is yours.
Which one? The Ayla's case?
Yeah. The poor. It's just the children. For some reason, it's like the cases that get me the most is when you have children with their parents involved. Like, dang it.
That reminds me. I gotta talk to you after we finish this, Travis. Don't forget to remind me about the Ayla case.
Oh, he learned something.
Okay. Something you don't want to say online.
Yes.
Oh dear. Oh, good. Jeff's a bartender now, so he's probably heard some confessions or something.
I wish Julie was actually in here. She'd be answering all these questions for me.
So where do you think this case goes from here? Do you think Richard Allen gets off? Do you think he turns around and sues the state, saying that he was framed?
My personal gut feeling, I think he's going to get out. I think it's going to be because of how the case is handled, and it's going to get thrown out.
Well, because does he What are the charges he has right now held against him?
He's got murder held against him.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so now they can
can't
still
prove it.
What's that?
They can't prove it. They can't prove that he did it. So it's like, but he's in there for murder.
Right. But as far as like him getting out there, how does that work? As long as they don't bring it to trial.
Well, if it goes to trial and he gets thrown out, then they can't charge him again.
That's what I'm saying.
But if it looks like they're going to fail, they'll drop the charges and then they can bring it up.
Yeah.
But if it's a civil case, you can drop it and then get recharged. If it's a federal case, if it's like up there, then once you get charged, thrown out, you can't get charged again, like Casey Anthony.
Right. Yeah. That's such a stupid thing to do, right? Is if you have someone in jail for something as heinous as this, like, why would you risk losing it because of like mishandling of like the suspect or any of that sort of thing?
Well,
right?
I think the defense team really came out with a lot of information that pointed and shedded a lot of light that we all saw in law enforcement already, but just wasn't out in public. With how the defense presented what they had in the $153 page document, it was really telling. The law enforcement definitely is corrupt. You got that whole town corrupt. I really think that this whole thing should be tossed out and another court system should pick it up, like 100%. Delphi should not be handling this. You got the sheriff is corrupt. They're all doing it for political reasons. They also all belong to the same boys club, whether it's Masons or whether it's something on the side. There's a lot of men in this town that are associated with each other, and so they all got each other's backs. That's the problem that we have with Richard Allen, is we have him in jail. We have a lot of people he's afraid of, and he's willing to do whatever he needs to do to, I don't.
Yeah, so maybe just step in and try to take it state level rather than the town or county.
The whole thing is nuts. But do you think that this is like a crime of opportunity? They wanted, like, if it's someone that's trying to sacrifice children, do you think they just happen to go out there this day and pick these two girls? Was it random, or think that these girls were targeted?
I think it was planned. I know that they had a live on a Snapchat like 2:00 that morning with their friends and stuff. And like I said, Libby talked to Keegan Klein on the phone, and they were supposed to meet the next day. They did invite all their friends to come out there and do that, come out there too. But it was too much advance notice. If they didn't do that live, then maybe it would be more of a crime of opportunity. But, with Brad Holder, Logan, the boyfriend's dad, who does do seances, he has pictures of him doing it. And he is a monodonist and he is a Mason. Not necessarily those two things always go together, but I actually have a friend that just passed away who was a Mason and an odinist, so it was kind of not a surprise to me. But yeah, I don't know. This case is just bizarre.
So
it's bizarre.
Libby's sister Kelly has been kind of like the spokesperson for the family, and she's young. Like I don't think she's 20 years old. Maybe she is now, but
yeah.
When this happened, I think she was like 18. What does she say about this? Does she feel that Richard Allen is the suspect, or does she think that it could be something else? Do you know?
Oh, I'm sure she thinks Richard Allen did it. She's talked a lot. She's contradicted herself a lot too. She will say one thing and then again say a different thing the next time she talks. So it depending on how much trust you put in what she says. This was her little sister, so I do grieve for that. But some people think that she knows a little bit more than what she let on.
She's the one that dropped the girls off that day.
Yeah, she's the one who dropped off the girls that day. Yeah.
Kelsey's 23, married, and has a baby girl now. I don't know. I have to contradict you there. Like, just hearing her on different podcasts and stuff, like my heart breaks for her. And
oh yeah,
the way she talks about her sister and stuff, and so I'm gonna tread lightly on
Well,
talking negatively about
there's
her.
also videos of Libby's mom doing psychic readings, and I've literally the one that I've heard a couple of them, but there was this one that I heard. I just bawled. I bawled because this is a mother, and you can hear it in her voice, and she was being told that Libby was sitting next to her, and and she was hugging her, and all that stuff, and it was just like, yeah, it was heartbreaking to hear the mom talk about it, and that mom is actually left out of the loop. You know what I mean? Like, it's because Libby was raised with Cody, and by the Patties, she didn't really get to live with her mom. She get to stay with her mom every once in a while. So her mom has never really been brought up. She's kept out of the loop. She found everything else. She found out that the girls were murdered. I want to say online or
Oh
through somebody
man.
else. Yeah, she didn't find it out, because she was called by the police. She was told by somebody else. Yeah.
Now the three faces we have on screen here is the bridge guy, and then
Mhm.
this younger version they sent out April 2019, and then Richard Allen there all the way to the right.
Yeah.
And I know that right after the girls had been murdered, Richard Allen shaved his head. He grew out his goatee thing, so it's longer now. Why would if you're not directly responsible, why do you change the way you look? Like, and then didn't he burn his jacket or something in the backyard? Didn't I hear that?
Julie, anything about the jacket and being burnt in the backyard?
We do got some comments here. It's a hi from Holton, Maine. Hello, Erica. And Julie also said Libby was close with her mom, Carrie.
Yeah.
And also that she spent every birthday with her in summers and visits. Libby wanted to live with Carrie.
Makes sense because the Patties were, I don't know. Okay,
Julie
so
said that's a rumor. I've not heard that. I swear I read that, and it's on this case that.
well, there was a
That's
fire
in regards
pit
to the
that
jacket being burned, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there was a fire pit in the backyard. They dug up his cat, I want to say.
Oh,
A black
whoa.
cat. Like, that's all I know. How do I know it's a black cat? But they dug it up. I think that's what they did, dig up something in his yard.
All of
I wanna
this
say it was a black
sounds
cat.
like it's like a Netflix creepy series or something. Just a
Right?
lot of weird stuff going on here, like the runes and cults and
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah, there's a motorcycle gang that lives out there that they could have been involved. The owners could have been involved. King Klein, I still think he's tied into it.
What's his first name?
Keegan.
Keegan, right?
Keegan. Yeah. And his dad.
This is
Like,
the one I was thinking of when we talked earlier.
and he admits to being in a red Jeep at the gas station while his dad is doing whatever. So it's possible that I don't know. It's like you have all these possibilities that literally do tie these people together to where it's a real possibility. Like Keegan Klein, he's admitting these certain things. Yeah, that guy. He's admitting that he's in a red Jeep, that he's sitting in his dad's doing possibly the murders, and then you have
And this is who he said he is, right? Like that
yeah,
looks just like him.
that poor guy is actually a police officer.
Oh, this kid is?
Yes.
Oh no. He's changed a bit.
He was so Keegan Klein claimed to be Anthony Schatz, right?
Yeah, and the one in the middle where you see the three guys, his dad's on the left.
Oh, okay.
And so whatever Keegan does, his dad also does, because his dad also used that profile.
What?
Yeah, there was more than one person who used that profile. It was like a hub, basically. Yeah,
Okay.
because
So
so
it
when
was a hub to like attract young girls or something,
yes,
or
yes.
communicate with young females.
Yes. So they were
Yeah.
able to prove that by the way he was typing, by all the messages on there, that there was more than one person using it because of the way that they were
What
speaking, the way that they
the
spelled. So you have him being grilled. Who else uses your account? And he's like, I do. Did your dad use it? I don't know. So he was covering for something. But yeah, there's multiple people using that account.
dude?
It
People are
it,
evil.
it just reminds you of like a backdoor Pornhub, Like,
Did Jeff? Did you show this Julie comment about what he was actually charged for? I can't remember if you actually.
Oh,
Showed
I
that.
didn't.
So Rich Allen's charged with murder under Indianapolis Code 35.211, which is murder involving a specific underlying criminal offense. In this case, abduction of 2 girls leading to their murders. Thank you, Julie.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Julie's been really helpful.
she's the best.
Yes, awesome. Thank you very much, Julie.
I'm glad that she joined the chat because I was like, oh gosh. I know a lot about the case, but to just spit it all out, it's more so like a conversational thing that's easier to do than to educate. But then you find yourself when you have regular conversations that you sound really great, you should educate. Yeah, she has a lot of haters out there. I stick up for her.
Well, they're probably terrible people.
They are. They're selfish people.
I don't. It is kind of funny. It's maybe something I shouldn't even say on this, but people who do this, I have seen that it can get kind of clicky, which is weird. Like people attack each other on these things, and it's like we're all here for this. We should all be here for the same goal, and that's trying to get the family stories out and find justice for the people that are either murdered or missing, something like that. But people almost turn it into a competition, and it's disgusting. Like
it is, and it's all these high profile cases. Every single one of them, they get in there, and I've been able to meet Doug from No Thanks Investigate. You guys were on his show with me. He's no longer doing YouTubes because he got so bullied out of it that they were making.
Oh, really?
They were getting him kicked out of his YouTube constantly. That he tried this, and he could just never get back to where he was because everybody's throwing his name under the bus because they were.
Oh, it's awful. He was a great guy. He had really good energy too. Like and he was passionate about all this. Like I was wondering because I hadn't seen any of his stuff up for a long time. I was wondering where he'd been.
Yeah.
I'd pop in every now
He's
and
like
then
a
watch
mix of comedy because he was a radio person at one point, but he's like a mix of comedy and a mix of reality and get things done kind of thing, keeping it in between. And yeah, they just tore him apart. Delphi people. I was doing lives about Dior with this Delphi person who was all about Delphi, who had to stop doing my Dior lives. It was all on him. He wanted to do the lives. So but he had to stop because he was being so harassed that he had to get put on the down low. Julie's the same way. She's been so harassed that she's had to be put down on the down low. All we want to do is be a voice. I'm lucky in a way that by the time I got my voice in the D-Worth case, it had already settled down. I watched all the drama. I wasn't going to have it. I already went through my part of the drama, lost 4 of my friends, got them back, went through a full circle. And I don't deal with it. It goes through one ear and out the other. I have a job to do is what I say.
So we're pretty lucky we haven't had to deal with any of that stuff yet.
Yeah. Terry Staples is asking about guilt knowledge. Was there anything that he told the investigators that only the killer would know?
I don't know.
I think you know.
Not that I know of. Julie?
Julie.
Oops, sorry. I meant to do this one. Julie says, I'll never get in another case in my life. This was so close to home. Yeah, you do it, Jeff. I don't want to keep stepping over each other.
Julie, I've been been through living hell, trying to bring justice to Libby and Abby. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Julie, for what you're doing to help bring justice for those two little
Yes.
girls.
Don't listen to anybody.
Was there any DNA evidence that revealed Richard Allen? I don't
No,
think so.
no, not the
No.
not the DNA.
So they don't have a single lick of DNA. Were the girls assaulted at all? Obviously they were assaulted because they were murdered, but were they sexually assaulted that we know of, or anything like that?
I don't think it was mentioned that they were.
I know they've been pretty tight about everything.
If so, it would be more so inside knowledge because it's not released. But I don't think they have any DNA. They say they have touch DNA, but I don't think they have anything.
Yeah, Julie says that about the DNA evidence, that they have none. She says no, they don't have any.
And I think that was initially about the evidence that he told the investigators only a killer would know.
Yeah.
Maybe both, but yeah.
It's two beautiful girls just need justice, and I hope that it comes one day.
The one good positive thing out of all this is that they were found, and they're properly laid to rest. They're not missing. We don't have to worry what happened, where they are or what's happening to them right now. When you take a case and it's so tragic, you have to find something positive out of it, and that's how I think of it. It's my positive thing about it is I'm glad that they know where they're at.
Oh, this is something interesting from Julie.
Yeah,
it says there's nothing that links the case to him, with the exception of the unspent bullet tool mark. Expert for the ISP wrote a research paper previously about tool markings for ejected bullets. She is the one who examined the bullet. Her own research proved that it was 50% wrong.
Oh, nice.
So, okay, so they have less than the unspent bullet.
Wait, the lady was wrong? 50% wrong?
Well, I guess I'm assuming she means that it can be wrong 50% of the time, right? There's a huge margin of error for using the tool markings.
Lori Harris.
I think it's a lot more accurate if it's been fired, but probably not like tooling for like the ejection mechanism. Probably is I'm assuming.
Yeah. Lori Harris is a friend of mine. She's a Dior person as well. She's my bestie online and in my daily life. I want to say that's right, Lori. That he said that he was there about 1:30 something. But I think the girls were also there about 1:30 something. It was close.
It was a close time frame, and he drove what is that called? A purple. No, not Mini Cooper.
What was his?
What is it called? Can't think of the name of that car.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And Julie, that morning, wasn't it Garrett Kurtz that was said to have that one girl that ended up going to the one with the fake license plate, the mother who wrote that down, her daughter was out in the woods with Garrett Kurtz that morning. Was it that morning that they were out there? That was my question.
Julie does mention there were two sets of girls there, one group of 3 and one group of 4. And I had read that the group of 4 girls had seen him. They had mentioned Bridge Guy, right? That they thought he was kind of weird looking and kind of gave them weird vibes.
So this is a pretty common trail for people to walk then, huh?
Yeah.
Which also makes it seem like extremely risky to attempt something like this there in a place that's, if there was a total of what, I don't know, almost 10 people there, like in that short a period of time. That why would you attempt
there's other trails. There's other trails besides just the one that goes to the Hainan Bridge. Is that what it's called?
The Monon High Bridge.
Monon High Bridge, sorry. So that's one trail, right, that goes across the bridge. Then there's other walking trails that go down through there as well. Yeah,
it goes alongside if you go down where the girls were supposedly walk down to go across the creek, that was a trail itself that goes along the creek. That is somebody's property. Oh, it is somebody's property. And Julie has thoughts about that guy too, because he also owns the same kind of gun.
Yeah, he owned the same kind of gun, and then I think that day he said something about going to the dump or something, but he's not supposed to be driving, so then they nailed him for that.
That was Logan. That was Ronald Logan, the old guy. Yeah.
Owns the property, right?
Yeah. No, the trail that the girls were being led down is across the creek.
Okay.
So they had to cross the creek to get to Logan's property.
And they recovered Libby's cell phone, and it wasn't underwater, right? It was sitting on land.
It was like under them, under her, or under something.
Her.
Yeah.
So do you think something. Do you think the killer knew that she had her phone out and was recording them?
You would think that no. I would think no, because if you were doing something like that, you would not want to leave any trace of evidence. I mean, they didn't leave fingerprints. They didn't leave. Like, what were they wearing? Gloves? I mean, how prepared were these people? They didn't leave anything behind except a bullet and some.
And no one made any like accusations that they heard anything like screams or anything, or pleading for help or anything like that.
The only scream that was heard was 2:00 in the morning from someone that was nearby. Said that they heard a scream in the woods at 2:00 in the morning. Personally, I think the girls were let out of the woods and brought back.
Really?
That's my personal thing. I feel like because there were so many people around and looking, I mean, it got dark pretty fast. I'm sure it was February, so it gets darker faster. Well, at least in Washington. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, you just think you would have heard something.
There was a lot of volunteers out there in the woods that night looking for them.
Yeah. But then the sheriff also called it off at like 10 o'clock. So I mean, it was like, all right, we'll have to resume some next day.
So some people gave up. There's still other but like self people that wanted to go out and look for these kids. That
they were still out there.
Stayed out there.
Yeah.
So
and that's when they heard somebody screaming.
Have they mentioned like the time frame that they believe the kids were? I mean, I know I've read that it's around 2 or whatever in the afternoon, but has forensics or autopsy shown when they actually passed?
Abby was the last one to pass. I think she was probably died just a couple of hours before they found her. So she hadn't been dead for very long. Libby.
Oh man.
I would assume that she had died the day before, that night before at least. But Abby made it until almost about morning time.
That is awful.
Yeah.
Julie says the 501 trail goes to the bridge and the 505 goes to a dead end in the woods. From there, you have to either turn around or go through brush to get down to the water. The 501 does not go to the bridge. And the other trail or worn path bypasses the bridge down to the steep ravine to the crime scene. It is private property, though.
Yeah.
And she also says that no formal time of death has been given.
Right.
Something too. So the next morning when they're looking for the girls, I think they found one of the girls' shoes.
Yeah, I found Libby's shoe.
Libby's shoe, and then her sister was there and identified that as her shoe, and then they kind of sent the sister away because obviously they don't want her to be there when they're found.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh no, Lori, I don't believe that they were killed there and brought back. I think it's possible that the ritual thing, that whatever they were doing with these girls, if it was a ritual, that they would have taken the girls to a different location, done the ritual, brought them back. But that's just
kidnap them.
Basically kidnapped them,
brought them back, and
did their thing and brought them back. Yeah, but, I mean, it is possible that Libby died right there on the scene, and they took Abby. That's just my personal opinion, though. I mean, why would you hear a scream at 2:00 in the morning? Why didn't they find him that night? Why did it, it just seems really fishy. There's a lot of things. That, I guess it just depends on who you are, what you you know, what you think, what you believe. But I think Abby was taken out of the area and brought back. That's my opinion.
I never even thought of that. But Ellie or PD believes that the girls were taken over the hill and murdered right then and there. The killer got away. Now, isn't that something like, didn't somebody's report seeing Richard Allen or someone that looked like him covered with blood or had blood splatter on him?
I heard that was a false rumor, that it was actually just mud, not blood.
Mud.
Yeah. One of the witnesses said that they saw blood on the person, but I want to say that was mud, not blood.
Well, that's the thing about these high-profile cases. You get so many people talking about them, interjecting their own thoughts, and maybe kind of direct the narrative a certain situation or a certain way, and it's possible.
That's why I go to Julie. Like, Julie, what's new? I heard about this. Let's dig deep.
Which is honestly, it's kind of the reason why we don't cover a lot of these high-profile cases, because you don't know what's legit and what's not, and everyone's got their own opinions.
Yes, it's hard to like present it as like this, you know, from the beginning to the end kind of thing, when there's so many scrambles in the middle that you know, at least for Dior, there's a somewhat of a timeline. I don't know, for the girls, it's just that short period of time that they're supposedly missing, and people think that where they were found.
Julie says, I believe they were killed where they were found. The big question. Oh, sorry. Were you talking?
Nope, I was reading.
I just totally talked over you. The big question, why weren't they found that night? That area was searched, and it's not a large area. It's literally about 3 acres of flat land where it would be easy to walk. The crime scene photos make me question why they weren't found even more.
Yeah.
Are the crime scenes that's been released, or is this something that someone's found somewhere on the web, like Reddit or something?
What's that?
Has PD released the crime scene photos, or is that something that
was not released by the police department? That was a staff of one of the attorneys for the case, and took a picture of it and distributed it. Yeah, not okay.
3 acres is not much area at all. Like,
I'm not sure what Lori's saying. Maybe BH
behind
shed.
The shed.
Brad Holder.
Brad Holder. Oh, so what about his shed?
I don't know.
Okay.
So there was a shed. There was a shed. Talked about a shack. There was a shack of some sort in the woods as well, but it was more so made out of like sticks and twigs, and yeah,
very makeshift.
There was nothing on Richard Allen's clothes that we know of, that, or else they would have had that on him. Nothing, just the bullet.
So Julie says, no, they have not been officially released. That was a leak that should not have happened. Do you think that was a leak that was made so that they could throw his case out of court?
It was actually the defense attorney's staff that did that. You would not expect the defense side to do anything to harm their client's case.
Right.
So I don't.
Well, and yeah.
I don't know how.
I'm assuming that person got fired, right?
Oh, I believe so, and charged. Like, he's getting charged.
Oh, nice.
Can somebody? Oh, I guess I can't really say that because I'm not sure 100%. Let's see. Brad Shed.
Did they ever find Richard Allen's jacket or anything from that day? Terry's asking, so there's no blood fluid on Richard Allen's clothes.
I wonder if the leaks people have photos over years that are not part of the defense. That makes sense. I don't know about Brad's shed. I don't know anything about Brad's shed.
Julie's saying, Callie, there's a lot of other underlying stuff regarding leaks. People had photos over a year ago, not part of the defense.
That makes sense. Yeah. So what is it? Is it? I mean, I think people are just selfish and they want all the inside stuff, and I think that's what it was. I don't think that it was to do anything harmful to the case. I think that it was a selfish person who saw an opportunity to get inside information, inside pictures, and
Yeah, look
shared
what I
it.
have. Look at all
Yeah,
this stuff that no one else has.
yeah, I'm shared it with the wrong person, and that person shared it even more. So
Right.
yeah, I heard people were going. The police were going door to door, like that's what I heard. People were going door to door, like getting these photos back, telling them to turn it back in. Um, it's That's huge. That's
So what do you
sad.
think, to kind of wrap this up, what do you think is going to happen, Callie?
Ooh, I don't know. This case is so messed up.
So you think Richard Allen's going to get off?
I do. I think I think the case is going to get thrown out. Not literally thrown out because it's a big case, but I think that he might walk.
I mean, it at least is what we know of, right? Because we don't know what they actually have for evidence. There is really nothing that they have holding him there.
And then, like I said, you have those guards. You know, you have mistreatment. Period.
Like,
I mean, if he's involved, I don't want him to get out. Not at all. But I also want the integrity of the case, you know, to stand up in court. And I think
And
that
it has to.
the police department and the correctional officers and all of these people that are big role players, they're messing it up. I think that justice is not going to be. I don't think justice is going to get served anytime soon. I don't think they're going to catch their people.
I was so excited when they arrested him too.
I know. I was. The blue jacket, you know, you can't deny it. Is he BG? If it was that really his statement, did he really give that statement out? But he is found with the jacket, so I mean, there's lots of photos of him in a jacket.
And even if that was him, right, on the bridge, like the photo at least, like if he was there, like there still wasn't, like they don't have the murder weapon, they don't have like his DNA anywhere near it.
Yeah, you can't prove
fingerprints. Like that's the thing, is you have to.
Yeah.
I did see that the now has cameras in the park. One of them pointing over the bridge and stuff. I read that they put security cameras up, so this situation doesn't happen again.
Right. And they fixed the bridge to where you can't go walking on it anymore.
Oh, you can't walk across that bridge anymore?
No, it's they kind of cut it out and made it like where you can just go to like a lookout, you know.
Damn it, he's not. I mean, he's guilty. I was gonna say he's not innocent. He's guilty.
You know, I do. I mean, if he really made that statement, then he really is BG, in my opinion. If he really made that statement, to me, he is really BG. But it's still not. I mean, I watched enough crime shows. It is not enough evidence to hold somebody.
No, it's absolutely not.
No, the bullet alone.
Did he say that's him? Like, he must have seen this video. Like, does he say that is definitely me on the bridge? Has he ever said that?
Not that I know of, but what he described he was wearing is the same clothes. How many people were wearing the same clothes that day on the bridge? I mean, and then you have Libby recording. So whoever that guy is has something to do with it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you have him on the recording. You have him talking. You have
Benet Ramsey.
Yeah, right, it'll end up like that.
I hope not. Hopefully they get this solved and that bastard's put away.
Julie will take care of it.
Whoever it may be. I put Richard Allen as the prime suspect, in my opinion.
Without a doubt, just because there's no one else. Right, but
no, I mean she mentioned 2 or 3 different people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. I mean, but like the guy places himself there, and you know, there's the guy is a very good subject, but they still like they have nothing else from anyone
Yeah.
else.
I
Do you
certainly
think
don't
PD
think he
just
did it by
kind of took?
himself.
Do you think PD just kind of took the easy way out? Like he's admitted that he was there, he was wearing those clothes. Yeah, it must be him. Case closed.
PD there is so corrupt that even their judge is was basically fired. He had to step down. Like their top people are involved in some shady stuff.
Oh, no doubt.
His warrant alone was made up of lies to get to his house.
We're not supposed to believe him saying that he did it, telling his wife that he did it. That's all fake. Like,
yeah, I don't know if I would have.
Well, the thing is, yeah, and I this may be conspiratorial again, but you know, like she was saying, there might be other people involved with this, convincing him to say such things because they all know that the calls are recorded. If you're actually trying to be innocent, you wouldn't say that over any phone line in jail because 100% of them are recorded and screened. So
right, and if it's recorded and all that, why do you need bodyguards or the security guards to overhear and watch you conversate? That's a violation of freedom of speech, right? Like,
well, what kind of freedoms are you offered in prison?
well, you lose pretty much all of them.
I don't know. They get tablets. Did you know that? They're allowed to use the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Hand the person who got arrested because of the internet and then give them the internet.
Scott Schatz is back at it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, he was. He actually, he did it. He did some more stuff while he was in jail with his tablet.
Richard Allen did?
No, Keegan Kline.
Oh, Keegan Kline.
All these weird players in this case.
It's definitely bizarre.
Yeah.
There's too many players in this case. That's why I don't settle on Richard Allen.
At least not 100%, right?
Not 100%.
One of maybe a few.
Yeah, I think he's involved in some way, or else he'd stick up for himself more.
All right, Callie. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I guess we're gonna call it a night.
And thank you, Julie, so much for popping in and helping.
Yeah, Julie.
Yes, very much.
And Lori, thank you for all your comments as well.
Thank you, Lori, for joining.
And if you're not following,
everybody watching, yes, yeah, I was about to say, if you're not following or subscribed already, we'd appreciate it if you did as such.
I was gonna throw out the justice for Baby Dior, but
that too, yeah.
Take care of yourself, you prick.
These guys are great. I hope you guys follow.
Yeah, so please follow Callie's page on Facebook, Justice for Baby Dior. That's another bizarre case that definitely needs answers as well. And that's Callie's main case. She kind of just helped out with this case a little bit, so we're able to talk to her about this case. So we really appreciate you joining us, Callie. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And thank everyone for listening tonight.
Please like, share, and subscribe to Jeff's personal page at
Shut up.
All
right.
All right.
Well, have a good night, everybody.
Bye.